Hello, welcome to another episode of Two Idiots Doing a Sport podcast. I'm Nate, joined by co-host Daniel. We're on another week to prove that we're smarter than the average analyst, despite the name of the podcast. This week, we are going to give a shout out to analyst idiot Ryan Clark. If y'all have not been paying attention to the drama on X, bro brought in RG3's wife over a debate regarding legendary rebounder Angel Reese. My goodness, Ryan, literally no reason to bring in his wife whatsoever. And we all know who you really are. I won't say it. I'm not going to be that guy. But if you know Ryan Clark, you know who he is. You know, chat. So you're a bum. RG3, I usually don't like your takes, but you're at least somewhat respectful about your takes. So I'm going to side with you on this one. So today we are going to continue our most likable to least likable teams NFL edition. We're going to do our normal immaculate grid, pickle, batter up, all that sort of stuff. Talk about fantasy updates, who won between Daniel and I, and another week. Who we got this week, loser team of the week, and a little bit of discussion about the Rangers. Kind of a mess right now. Hockey wise, Carolina Hurricanes poverty ? Well, if you haven't been paying attention, you might know. You'll find out in a minute. Talk about the Maple Leafs and a trade that the Blackhawks should have pulled off. And then NBA, unless if you live under a rock, Shai won MVP. Should he have won it? And can Anthony Edwards, a.k.a. Michael Jordan's son, lead a comeback against the Thunder? It's 2-1 in that series, so we will find out. But first, we are going to go do our normal stuff. We're going to do some immaculate grid. Where are you? There we go. All right, so choose a grade for me, Daniel.
Oh, gosh. 135.
135. All right. Go all the way down to 135. Imagine eventually we're going to end up picking a grade we've already done.
Yeah, we may
All
just
right.
have to at that point.
Ooh, okay. You might cook in this one. So, in the rows, Rangers, Blue Jays, 3,000 hits in their career. That might actually be kind of dangerous. Columns, A's, I said the Athletics twice. Orioles, and Silver Slugger. So, should we do Chris Davis for... Wait, did Chris Davis play for the Rangers? Am I making that up?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
We gotta do Chris Davis.
Legendary slugger, Chris Davis.
You know what? Nelson Cruz too could be a. I feel like Nelson
Cruz played for Baltimore.
Yeah, pretty
that's
sure.
Crazy.
He played for a lot of teams.
You're confident, so I trust you in that. I just never knew he played there.
Yeah, I'll show you in a minute. We'll do Chris Davis. Yeah, I was worried that Nelson might be higher too, but I think this is again just more of a shout out than actually going for score. So
okay. So for Baltimore, Toronto, this
Kevin
is
Gausman?
old.
Oh,
So I'm thinking Santander because he just recently became a Toronto Blue Jay, and if
holy crap!
people
You're a
in the
genius.
past, or if people aren't coming back to this very often, he's going to be
You're a
low.
genius. You are a genius.
Yep, not a lot of people coming back.
I was gonna go Kevin Gausman, but you're brilliant. That's smart. Okay, so 3,000 hits in a career. Did Sammy Sosa didn't do it? No way.
I mean, the obvious one is Beltran.
For Silver Slugger.
Oh, Silver Slugger. I don't know if he won it with the Rangers. Nelson, no. I mean, we could do another cheap one here. Jose Leclerc.
Yeah, Jose LeJerk. It's a little cheap on us, chat, but hey, don't blame us. It was maybe we should just do a randomized wheel every time from here on out, so we're not trying to cheese the system.
I mean, Hamilton was a Silver Slugger.
What about Palmeiro?
I don't
Rafael.
know. I mean, probably the dude slugged with us.
can hold off on it. I feel like I'm like 90% certain. We could do Mark Teixeira too.
Did he win it with Texas? Does it have to be they won it with Texas or just played with?
To be fair, yes, but didn't he play there for... I always do this with Mark Teixeira. He's starting Texas?
I think he started somewhere else and then came to Texas.
Yeah, he was really only like 1 or 2 years in Texas.
And then he went to New York.
Nope. He went to somewhere else very brief. I thought it was Anaheim. He played at Anaheim for like 80 games.
Okay. Maybe.
I thought.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Oh, no, was it? No, it was Atlanta. It was something stupid with him. I think.
Maybe, because I remember when we didn't get him, and like when we didn't re-sign him, and I was furious about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to use Mark Teixeira at this point because I looked him up. I'm curious where he was in between, so we will not use him. We're just going to lock him out. Sorry, I'm getting like ADD all up in here. Sidetrack chat. Yeah. It was Atlanta, 2007.
Okay.
Oh no, it was Atlanta, then LA.
And then New York?
And then New York.
Oh,
I thought, because he left LA for New York. But yeah, I do remember there was that little. So if we need to remember Braves and then either Yankees, Angels, or Rangers. If that's our paired, Mark Teixeira. You know what? I'd rather it be involved with Braves. People will not know Mark Teixeira and the Braves. But anyway, sorry, did not mean to get sidetracked. 3,000 plus hits career.
Did Ichiro ever win a Silver Slugger? I don't think he did.
I don't know.
I mean, Ken Griffey, probably, for sure.
You think he got 3,000 hits? I don't know.
I mean, he played for so long.
Screw it. I'll trust you.
Wow.
I was worried about that. I gotta stop doing that, though, to be fair. I gotta actually start thinking. So this is where things get tough. 3,000 hits is a lot to be...
Yeah.
Did Ricky Henderson do it? He was a stolen base guy, but I don't, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
This is what I was worried about. 3,000 hits with these teams, I was very nervous about.
Did Cal Ripken ever get...
I don't know.
I mean, Ripken would be...
He just played a ton. We could try it. Okay. Yeah, if you play that many games in a row and you don't get 3,000 hits, you're
It's
kind
also
of
probably, like, unfortunately for us with the Orioles, it's probably, like, one of 3 players.
Yeah. You're not... Well, yeah, 68%.
Or maybe even just one of 2. I don't think the A's probably have many.
Well, let's get A's Toronto really quick, maybe. Should we just do Bautista for, I don't like doing that, but he definitely won it with them.
Yeah, he's probably just going to be a high percentage. Did Encarnacion ever win it?
No idea. Maybe Josh Donaldson?
Maybe.
I wonder if Vernon Wells... No, sorry, Carlos Delgado. You know what? I'm going to do something risky.
I feel like Delgado probably won it with...
No, Delgado... Delgado was with Toronto when he was older.
I was going to say, he was with the Mets for most of
Mets,
his career.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if he won, in my
It's a good call to hold off on that. Alright.
I mean, I would say Bautista's probably the most...
Yeah, I'm just going to do Bautista. I don't like that. But...
Oh, wow.
I wonder if Alex Rios is on this. I'm curious. Shh. I should have said that first. Alright, screw it, we ball. Rafael Palmeiro.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he did it with the Rangers.
I mean, dude was goated. Granted, steroids.
Yeah.
But, he was kind of cracked anywhere he went until early 2000s when he got old. So, I kind of figured he had one with them.
A's?
Well, Marcus Semien.
Yeah, that's just, I feel like, two big one. If we can't think of anyone, did you know the other Chris Davis, the one that
Yeah,
played
of
for
course
them?
I do, but I
Did he ever play for Toronto?
don't think so.
Because I know he came to Texas for a little
Josh
bit.
Donaldson, as we just mentioned.
Which do you think would be higher, Donaldson or Semyon? I feel like Donaldson.
Donaldson.
I don't think people will remember.
The only hard part with that is Semyon's still active, but Donaldson was talked about more, for better or worse, when he was there.
I mean, and also when Toronto was really good, that's.
He won an MVP with them too, right? Or his contention. I don't know if you.
I think he was in contention. Also, another one from Marcus Semyon that we need to look out for: the White Sox. He started his career with the White Sox.
I forgot about that. I'm just gonna do Semyon.
Yeah, do Semyon.
I don't want to waste too much time on this one, so yeah, 6%. I mean, that's pretty good. All right, 2,000 hits.
3,000 hits. Who is retired? Like number wise, we got Rolly Fingers. You've got Ricky. Is there anyone else? I would just the first name obviously that came to my mind was Ricky.
McGuire. Oh, Ricky.
The other one was McGuire that I thought about.
We can try to think of guys that remember at least with the hits one. You only have to get one hit with it, or like play one game with them.
That's
so
fair.
It could be anybody that. My issue is I don't know a lot of guys that are washed that go to the Athletics.
I mean, they could have started their career there and currently be somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. I also didn't think about that.
Somewhere else.
I don't think Matt Holliday got enough hits. I think I remember he briefly went there in 2013, or not 2013, right before he went to St. Louis. Well, I don't think he got 3,000 hits. He was a great player. He was not that good. I'm gonna just try Ricky. I just
can't think off the top of my head of even people with 3,000 hits, because that's just insane.
It's really hard to do. I think Henderson just drew too many. I don't think. Oh, he did. Holy crap. Our rarity scores 309. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, look, Baltimore only had 3.
Baltimore only had 3. Now let's Derek Jeter. Yeah, see, this is tough because we had 3 of the top scorers there. Kevin Gausman was a 4th there. Josh Donaldson was the highest there, so I at least showed ball knowledge here. Can I see who is the? Of course not. It refuses to just show me a. I wish it would actually show me rather than just taking me to a stupid list. I'm just curious. I would love to know who the 3 are, but it doesn't actually show me when I click on show. It's kind of annoying. Unless if I have to be logged in to see. So, alright. I might want to do one more at the end because I don't feel great about that score, but we'll see. For now, we'll go over to Pickle Chat.
The 3 are Cal Ripken, Eddie Murray, and Frank Robinson.
I was debating Robinson. See, I didn't know the third guy. Third guy would have been the lowest. Robinson would have been the other, 20-something%. You know? That one's tough. I'm going to look up Alex Rios in a minute and see if he won Silver Slugger. I'm going to be mad if he did. Alright, guessing a player. I'm going to go with Ivan Herrera for St. Louis because he's been balling out for me. That was a good pull. All right. He's NL Central, not Cardinals. Bats and throws right-handed, not catcher. He might be American, so we could try Cubs. Okay, so Tucker, Pete Crow, bat lefty, Horner. Yeah.
Nico.
You can do Nico. That's perfect. He is American. That's good. Not Cubs though. Yeah, let's try Brewers. Let's think. No, it's Cardinals.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't see St. Louis. I forgot.
Who's righty on the Brewers? Is Churio?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, but he's not American.
You can try Kiner or actually do Skeens. Might as well. Throw his
That's a
name
good
up there.
point. It's taking a second to load. There we go. Yep. Yeah. Oh, what? I thought we had it locked up. That was rude. But it is Pittsburgh. That. Well,
I mean, Tommy Pham.
please. Oh. Remember when we said we needed to study Pittsburgh? Didn't study Pittsburgh. No, it was Miami and somebody else.
Was it a pitcher? It was not a starter. How old is Bedard? I'm not Bedard. What is his name?
Bednar.
Bednar.
30, so he's not close
not
enough.
within that range.
And he's lefty. We could just use that and see if he's a relief pitcher, though.
How old is Kiner?
Wait!
Oh, yeah, you're right. There it is.
We're blessed, chat.
That's probably Pittsburgh's goat right there.
Not probably. It is. You know what? What's his face in the 70s? Or, the guy that died in the plane crash. It sounds bad, but, it sounds really bad. I'm sorry, guys. He's a Hall of Famer. He has an award named after him. I can't think of his name. Clemente, thank you. Yeah, it's gotta be Clemente.
I was gonna say, it's either, probably present day.
McCutcheon, probably,
McCutcheon.
too, though.
Yeah.
Oh, modern day, yeah, for sure.
Where I think if you grew up watching Clemente, then he may be your goat
Yeah,
as a
for
Pirate.
sure. Okay.
This is Bragg. Yep. Yep. Oh.
Dang. I thought it was Bregman. It looked pretty similar.
I agreed with you. You started typing it, and I was like, "Yep, that's it."
It is well, he's American.
Will you try Pena?
That's a good.
Jeremy.
Hill West. Good. Nice. It's not Astros, though.
Will you scroll back up? It's Semyon.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Wow. But so he is American and he's second base. So it's not a Ranger or an Astro. Second base for the Angels, Mariners.
Who's the Mariners?
Is this Dylan Moore? Dylan Moore. I don't know what he technically plays because he's like.
Either. He's the definition of a utility.
I'm gonna try it.
Wow.
Bang! Bang!
I don't know if I'd put him at second, like as his position.
I thought he was more outfield.
I did too.
I'm gonna look at. Hang on, I'm looking up stats up really quick. Sorry, chat. We need to see this. I need to see this fielding. Bro was cooking to start the year. Now he's still having a good year. He's cooled off, but he's still having a good year. Fielding.
I didn't realize that 4 players have the same swing.
That's kind of wild, and 3 of them were in the same division just last year. Where is his fielding stats? How far do I have to go down? Standard fielding. There we go. 2021. What? Has he just played D8? Oh, there. Okay, I just keep scrolling down. I'm sorry. Oh, he's played mostly at second base this year.
Interesting. I thought Polanco was their second baseman.
Polanco plays more to third, I think.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, bizarre. But
wrong.
yeah, I mean, look at the stats: 20 at first, 10 at third, 8 at first, 7 at just outfield, 7 in right field. Okay, I mean, so 14 games in the outfield. He's back and forth there. 2 in DH, and 1 at short.
Okay. That's probably to give Crawford a day off.
Yeah.
Sheesh. He's the definition of a utility guy.
That's yeah. Okay, well, that was a pretty clutch poll, chat, and I totally didn't get that because of fantasy. So this is why we do fantasy to jog our brains. So, all right, next up, we are going to go back into our bit. For those who forgot, we are going through each sport, major four sport, before you get into this whole all about MLS and all this crap. We're not doing that because I don't pay attention enough to know that. So. But we're going to talk about if a team won a championship, essentially, who would you like to see the most? If it's not your team, to you're on the brink of death, you're depressed that a team you just absolutely utterly despise this one. So far, as a reminder, we started off with our first four. Jags were number one. Texans were second. Lions third. Panthers fourth. Again, if you disagree with that, or just comment below. But I'll start us off with number 5. It's got to be Arizona. I think part of the reason why maybe they could have gone higher. Part of the reason why they're not higher for me is just because of the division they're in. The rest of that division is very obnoxious. Just they're not known to be likable franchises in one way or the other. With the Rams moving, St. Louis has a grudge against them. Seattle's Legion of Boom drove everybody crazy. San Fran fans, sorry, but most people don't really care for you. So when you're kind of paired with that, I've thought that, with the lack of history Arizona has, probably should have been higher, but I think just with what you're surrounded with and you have to deal with, dropped them a little bit. But, Arizona, freaking brutal. How long has it been? I mean, they haven't won a championship since, World War II. They're entering Cubs level of bad, chat. So, they were really close to that one Super Bowl against the Steelers. That was a heartbreaker, but especially with Kurt Warner, but, that's probably they're gonna get as close as they're gonna get in some time. So that's why I'm putting them at number 5. So, Daniel, you're up.
Yeah, I feel like we flirted with this one a little bit last time. I'm gonna put the Chargers here. I think the only people that may be mad at the LA Chargers are maybe the Ram fans. And then also everyone in San Diego. But if you're not a part of them, I think mostly you're fine with them. Maybe if you're in the division you don't like them, but I think every other fan base is kind of like, we're not scared of the Chargers. We like the Chargers. They got cool colors. They got cool uniforms. Fans aren't obnoxious with
they don't exist.
The fans that they have or don't have. That's
sorry, Ethan.
They've never really been competitive. Honestly, at least in our lifetime, they haven't been competitive enough for a team to actually hate them or have solid reasons.
Well, they had the LT era.
Yeah,
Philip Rivers. There were a couple years that they should have won.
I just feel like
they got brickwalled by Manning and Brady.
Yeah, with the big thing. With the LT era, I feel like everyone loved the LT. And there's very rare people that actually.
Well, right, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I got you.
Where I feel like with Kansas City, they're another likable team, but they've just won so often that everyone's just tired of them. And I don't think the Chargers are in that boat.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially since, as I mentioned, more often than not, they're out performed in terms of fans when they're playing at their stadium. So it's a fair team to number 6. Number 7, I really should call this 28-3 number. I'm sorry. Falcons. I think the Falcons should have probably been higher, to be honest. Just because of the crap they went through in that game alone. But, and I know I'm an instigator constantly with you guys. I'm sorry I bully and harass your fan base, but, yeah, it's tough, man. You've had a lot of likable legends, Roddy White, Julio Jones, got some hype in Bijan. Kyle Pitts, I'm going to bite the bullet on that one once again. I'm sure as all of you do. This is finally the year. Am I right, people? Don't do it. Don't do it. But, yeah, it's just, to say the least, they're in probably debatably the most depressing sports city. I know they had the Braves win recently, but beyond that, they have gone through some stuff for sure. Losing multiple hockey teams, and the Atlanta Hawks being the Atlanta Hawks. So, yeah, it's not a lot of guys you really dislike on this team, unless if again you're in division. So Saints, Bucks, Panthers fans are naturally not going to like them. But beyond that, I just, for their sanity, Atlanta, get it done. Because until it's done, 28-3 is constantly going to get brought up, and they're going to get PTSD. And probably say the same thing with the Seahawks. What happened, a couple years prior, if they had not beaten Denver, they at least for Seattle with the Marshawn thing, they have the year before to cope. Atlanta doesn't have anything to cope with that. So Falcons are number 7. So go get it done eventually. And finally, number 8. Who you got?
Yeah, I feel like I'm between two teams on this one. I'm gonna put the Broncos here.
Whoa.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like the Broncos, as in the Peyton Manning era, haven't really had John Elway.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm gonna put the Colts here.
Okay.
Instead.
Boo! I'm sorry.
Since Peyton Manning, they haven't really had a lot of success. They probably would have had a lot of success with Andrew Luck if they stayed healthy.
No. Not
and
again, man.
I'm glad he's back in football with Stanford. But yeah, no, I think the Colts are here. They've had a rough, probably last 5 years with Anthony Richardson. Not sure if he's their guy. They've got a team, but when your offense doesn't perform, it's just been rough for them the past couple of years. So I feel like the heat kind of has gone off of them since the Peyton Manning era, because everyone hated them because they were just a good, solid squad year in and year out. And if you don't like Peyton Manning, you didn't like the Colts. But I think that has cooled off for most fans, and a lot of fans would enjoy seeing a team like the Colts winning. Rest in peace, Irsay. But yeah, I feel like they got a solid fan base. I don't think I've ever gone to a Colts fan and been like, I hate your fans. I know a couple of Colts fans, and honestly, they suffer more than they actually celebrate. So
yeah, I obviously have personal bias just because of Deflategate, but I mean, objectively, they're definitely towards the top of this list. They have gone through this. I think my other issue is, there are going to be old heads bitter still that, Baltimore lost their team to them. So that's why I probably wouldn't put them this high. But the other team I was debating was Tennessee. Could say the same thing there. Yeah. So
those are the three teams I was.
The difference breaker for me with if you're going one of the others, Titans haven't won anything. But yeah, it's still, they've gone through some crap. And on top of that, you wasted Andrew Luck. The organization killed him. You only won one with Manning. Again, just got blocked by the greatest player of all time. That's just unfortunate. They're just teams that, you're good at the right time, but it's the worst possible time. And that was what happened with Indy. Worst time to have Peyton Manning, man. That's unfortunate. So,
don't worry.
So,
another Manning's going to come through by the name of Archie.
Archie? Oh, man. That would be headline. Dude, jerseys would sell like crazy.
All I got to say is, NFL, you better start writing that script.
Oh man, they better, man. Oh, that would be electric. But yeah, I think that's still a good fit. Number 8. I was about to say when you said Broncos, I was like, I love Broncos fans, but I was like, oh man. I mean, they're not like towards the bottom, but Chiefs, Raiders, and Chargers all have like strong resentment towards them. And I know you can say the same about the Chargers, but like it's just not the same level, especially with how many jokes about that they have that they don't have fans. Broncos don't have those allegations. They got the fans and they have the bandwagoners because of the Manning era. So and Tebow too. So so I was just like, wow, they're sneaking to the top 10. We'll see how people feel about that. But Colts better fit. So all right, so those are our top 8. We're gonna continue slowly chipping away with that and procrastinate as long as we can on NHL. Because hockey is going to suck so bad. That is going to be so difficult, man. I just feel like the thing really quickly with the NHL, everybody hates each other. Like other sports, it's just like, NBA. Why would the Celtics hate the Wizards? Like, they have no reason. But it's just like every hockey team has a reason to hate somebody.
Yeah,
it's
San
insane.
Jose, one of the worst teams in the NHL, is hated by people.
It really, they really are. So, albeit not many, but like same with the Ducks. They changed their colors. People don't like them for that. It's just like there's a lot of beef in NHL. So, so for those who are wondering, that's going to be last. I think NBA will be next. I think MLB will be also fairly difficult, but
I feel like our top maybe 10 won't be, but I think once we get past that, it'll be a little bit difficult.
Smaller markets will be easier to like weed out. It's going to be the bigger markets. It's going to be, really not even, the biggest is easy. It's the big, but not like gigantic. San Diego, for example, would be pretty hard to pinpoint, in my opinion. Atlanta might be tricky. The Mets, they're pretty hated, but it's all about the Mets, baby. Come on. It's about the Mets. Go hit a home run, baby.
I mean, St. Louis could be another one where
I consider them more mid-market. They could be tricky.
Where you could be like, a lot of people probably still hate them because of rivalries and history, but like that's cooled off a little bit. So like, where do you actually rank them?
I think they're going to be. I think for memes, we just shoot for mid because that's what they are. That's what they are. They're mid-market. They're a mid-team.
Yeah.
So, oh man,
I mean, they
have a mid-budget.
I would say they haven't had a lot of success since they won the World Series. So.
They finally tried trading for people and it's not worked out, but that's another day. So, okay, so we're gonna finally jump into MLB. So fantasy updates. So 2 quick things. Those who are dying to know who won, I beat Daniel 7-5. It was a close one. I was winning like 8-4, 9-3 most of the week, but like each category was like within 1 to 2 points. So it was like, even though the score reflects that, like you could have overtaken anything, and you overtook a couple, but not enough to get that tie or flip it. So I did. Let me see really quick. I don't remember what the categories were. So I won. You beat me in runs actually, which is that's a rare one for me to lose. I got home runs, RBIs. So for those who are wondering, Daniel was up 6-0 in stolen bases. Then Saturday night it was 7-8. It got sketchy, but I did not get another one, and you got 2 more. So you did hold on, but whoo, that was close. I went total bases, yeah. And then I won OPS, and then you won strikeouts, ERA, and WHIP. I had quality starts, saves, and wins. Wins was another close one. And we streamed a lot.
I also had a lot of guys that won like 5 2/3 innings, and I was like, you have to actually be kidding me.
Dude, that hurts. It hurts. I had a lot of guys go 4 2/3 innings. I was like...
It happened again this week. Pablo Lopez for the Twins. 5 2/3 innings, threw 90 pitches and got pulled after 5 2/3. He didn't give up a run.
That's brutal.
And I got 5 2/3, 1/3 of an inning away from getting a freaking quality start. It won't. It's not going to matter because I'm going to lose that category by like 2, I think, this week. But
Freaking brutal, man. That's so
dude,
rude. That's so rude. But as for me this week, I'm doing pretty well. 38 runs, 10 dingers, 37 RBIs. So I'm cooking my opponent. 118 total bases, OPS of 830, 4 wins. Wins has been a hard thing to come by. 69 strikeouts, 2.75 ERA. Those y'all are gonna learn really quick. I'm the whip merchant, aka never gonna win it no matter what. 2.75 ERA, and yet my whip is 1.31. Chat. So I don't. My ERA really should be 5 every week with the whip I have, but whatever. Quality starts 5-3, and then saves and holds. I was down 6-2. This guy blew it. I had 4 last night, and then
wow.
I had 4 2 nights ago and 1 yesterday. I overtook it. Boys finally woke up there, so I'll take it. So 1 in 10-1 should win 10-1. So we know you had your Pablo Lopez thing, but what's going on? How's it going for you this week?
Yeah, I'm losing again 7-5. It just flipped. I was up.
No.
And then am back to losing. He took a couple categories, one of them being RBIs. I think the other one was total bases, so I'm still within reach for RBIs. I still have Ozuna playing, so if he gets an RBI or 2, I could retake that. But other than that, probably not going to win again this week, unfortunately. After it honestly started off really rocky. So I think getting 7-5 is probably a good start. I early in the week was down 8-2, so I will take a 7-5 split. But yeah, my offense seems like it's coming alive a little bit. My OPS is high 7s, so or high 700s, so that seems good. My runs, I'm gonna win runs again, so I feel like my guys are starting to get on base, and then also their team is scoring them. So I feel like my offense is coming around a little bit. My pitching had a shaky week. King got hurt late in the week, which really hurt me and what I wanted from him. But honestly, I feel like a 7-5 split is a win for me, at least this week.
Yeah. As you mentioned, you had a rough start, so to climb back, it was like I'm scared because I have to play him next week. What you ran into is Pete Crow Armstrong. That dude's a freaking monster.
Yeah, but I still won stolen bases somehow.
Yeah.
So
6-3. Yeah, he did not have a lot. Your catcher had 2. I saw that.
Yeah.
Why are catchers stealing bases, bro? We have cracked catchers, chat. A friendly reminder: you dropped him, by the way. I almost picked him up. I came very close, but
because I needed a spot. Ruiz at that point was doing better, but now I'm in a solid spot with honestly 2 really good catchers and Goodman and now Langeliers.
Yeah, I'm scared because next week's going to be probably battling for first, depending on how that works. So I'll gain like 3 on Autobot. It'll be 6.5, 7. But if I'm smoked, he could overtake me. So, but for right now, my boys are cooking. Player of the week, really quickly. Probably Kyle Schwarber because that dude is a monster. So, love my king, Kyle Schwarber. So, really quickly, MLB. Loser teams of the week. I'll shout out one, you can shout out the other, but you'll know the other when I say the first one. The Yankees, who lost to the Rockies. Embarrassing poverty Mickey Mouse. Who's the other, Daniel?
The Rangers, because we lost 6 in a row, including 2 of those 6 losses being the White Sox. So we avoided a sweep. We were losing up until the 9th inning, and then the offense decided to score, I think, 3 runs in the top of the 9th. So we avoided it, but still, shouldn't have been in that situation. Especially with the way the first 2 games went. Starters gave up 1 run or 2 runs, and then the bullpen absolutely blew it. I will say for Leiter's one at least, it seemed like a lot of it was unearned. Um, but still, offense has to get going.
100%. And
they only scored like one or two the first two games. So
yeah, the offense has been horrible, which begs the question. I'll let you cover this one. People are going to start talking to me this now. I'm reading comment sections, especially on Rangers Nation Instagram page. Shout out to you guys. Good memes when you're winning. Are the Rangers a one-year wonder?
I don't think so. I don't think with the lineup that they currently have, they're a championship team, but they're set up on the pitching side of things as well. Malley is a free agent, so we could lose him in the offseason. But we've got Leiter locked up. Kumar, we saw flashes of it last year. Kumar is going to be good. He may just need some more time to develop some of the things and gain his confidence, but he'll be a solid guy in the rotation eventually, whether it's next year, this year, or 2 years. He's still young. I didn't realize how young he is. I think he's still only like 24 or 25.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, so he still has a little bit of time to develop if he needs it. If not, I think maybe shoulder stiffness was a little bit of his issue, and he just finally accepted it. We got DeGrom for a while. We got Eovaldi for a couple more years after, I think, because he signed a 3-year deal with us. I don't know if there's any options in there on the player side because the Rangers aren't going to take the option at this point. When you have, currently the Rangers have 3 pitchers in the top 10 for ERA, I think, 3 starters. And Eovaldi is in the top 3 in ERA, WHIP, and Ks per 9. And you aren't winning 3 of those 5 games. The pitching's not the issue. The lineup is.
100%.
So they got to figure out the lineup. So my personal opinion is I would, this hurts to say, but ship Garcia. Because you've got a couple of guys in your system that are going to take his spot, like Ozuna, who's now, it's Osuna, so O-S-U-N-A.
The Korean Otani.
That is currently up with the Rangers after Jock Peterson got hurt. And went 0 for 3 today, but also it's his first game. So you've got a couple guys in your system. I also think they need to do something with the infield, whether it's trading away Berger or Semien, because you got Walcott, who's tearing up the minor leagues. I think he's 18 or 19, one of the two. He's a shortstop, so, or even trading Peterson. I know that would suck. I think Peterson's finding his stride and has looked good this last month. But maybe actually making the DH spot Seegers and pulling up Walcott and letting your young guy, who's in the top 5 in the MLB prospect rankings, whenever Holiday and a couple of other guys that have gotten pulled up leave that, comes up, because I think you can't keep him down much longer if he's going to continue to do what he's doing down there. Maybe there's a couple things he needs to develop, and that's okay. But if he continues to dominate like he did last year in the minors, this year, it's going to be really hard for him not to make the team next year. And so whether you trade Peterson before the trade deadline when someone needs it, or you trade him in the offseason when other teams will also need it because there's not as many big bats available. But Walcott's got to have a spot open if he stays consistent.
All right. Yeah, I think there's obviously a couple concerns for me. Semien, clearly, I think he's definitely lost a step at the plate. Still a decent glove, though, but he's doing more harm than he is doing good in the lineup. He's definitely a guy of concern. Garcia went from looking like he could get a massive bag after his contract here ends to get him the heck out. is just not been the same guy since 23. Again, hey, you won a World Series, so you'll forever be indebted. The city's forever indebted to you for putting the team on your back. But the last year and a half has just been horrible, and I just beg the question: is he worth keeping? And right now, I'd say no. Really, the only guys that really have just been trustworthy in this lineup are Young and Smith. Smith's been nice. Seager's fine, but when you're, and I know we've had conversations, he needs to be DH permanently, but when you are missing like seemingly every 3 or 4 weeks with some sort of injury, can't even count on him anymore. Langford and Carter are young, but neither have looked particularly great either. So it's just like there's a lot of promise coming in after the World Series, right? It was like we just won it, and we have these guys to grow, and just taking a massive step back since. Or I think there's reasons I can understand why people would call it a one-year wonder. His concerns. I think objectively you're probably right. It's still a little too early, especially since they could still turn the season around. The division theoretically is still weaker. And that is reflecting right now. The Mariners are in first place. Albeit, pitching's been doing well, and their lineup's been finally flashing potential that they've talked about.
Well, I think the Angels are currently second in the division.
Insane. That's embarrassing. That team is garbage. I don't care what people say. Like, they're doing better than what they said, but they've done this several times this past decade. It was like, wow, they're kind of surprising, and then they fall apart after losing 12 in a row. I just don't buy them. But
no, they're a roller coaster team.
Yeah,
they're going to have good stretches, and then they're going to have really bad stretches.
Bad stretches, yeah, for sure. So
they're not going to finish that high.
Second, I don't think so. But so it's still too early to tell. I still think this could be a division for them to win, but after watching this series, losing to the freaking White Sox, it's swept by the Yankees. So be it. Yankees are a World Series contender. I can understand that.
Yeah, I would also say even with the Yankees series, all of them but the last game were one-run games. So, yes, the offense didn't score the first game. It was 1-0. Still a 1-1 game. Your pitching kept you in it. The
pitching is elite.
The second game was a 2-1 game. So, like, your pitching shut down that offense, which no one has really done all year, other than now the Rockies, apparently.
Saw that the Yankees are losing again at one point today. By the way, I need to check if they're losing now.
But like, you were in all 3 of those games. I think the last one ended like 5-0 or 5-1, something like that. So like, even then, you're still in that game. And with the way and how hot the Yankees offense has been all year, it should have probably been a lot more. So it shows you on that side of things that your pitching is there. You just need 100%. Your offense to click.
And well, this is the problem the last 2 years with this team. They just, even the World Series contending team, they clicked at the right time. But that whole year, right, pitching and the offense never clicked together. The lineup just was so utterly insane it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Whereas here now, you're dealing with the opposite problem. But I think it's why I like offense to be, if you're going to have one bad one, I'd rather have good offense than good defense, because offense scores, which that's the objection of the game. But another conversation. But this has been the Rangers' problem for years. You just can't get things in sync. There's always a problem that's just either it's, neglected or just not really fully addressed, and it kills them. They just Leclerc got lucky in 23. I don't care what people say, but almost blew it. But yeah, so and I think that's the same issue here this year. Pitching's finally good. It's been phenomenal. Guys are staying healthy. My concern was, can these guys stay healthy? And so far they can, and they're doing a great job. Even Patrick Corbin, some freaking how. But offense, getting shut out game after game. It's unbearable to watch. The pitching coach was a part of the problem, but now you're just entering questions. Or you can only go so far to blame before you say, is this lineup even talented? Because right now, a lot of people are questioning the talent that this lineup has. So, but that'll we'll continue that another day. So, NHL. I think, for those who living under a rock, I've said that like 4 times, but Carolina Hurricanes, the truly witnessing history. They are 1 game away from Detroit lining the Eastern Conference Finals. And you don't know what that means. In 2008, the Lions went 0-16 in the season. Somehow, Carolina is about to lose 16 games in a row. Actually, it might be more than that. I don't know. I actually don't. No, I think it is. Because I think they the last time they won a game, got them to the Stanley Cup and won it. I think. I could be wrong about that. But in the last 4 they've made, for sure, they're 0-15. And, it's not looking good. Clearly, Florida has outclassed them in every way. They're just... And they're messing with him because you see Brad Marchand. The bro is eating a blizzard.
Yeah.
In between intermissions, the last night's game. Unbelievable. That dude is a menace. He might not be the biggest fan of him, but I do respect him talent-wise. That dude's a savage. So Carolina Hurricanes are biggest loser team of the week because they can't win a frickin' Eastern Conference Finals game. I'm also loser team of the week because I'm coping with the fact that Seth Jones is about to be in a Stanley Cup final. I just hit the realization last night. I was like, oh no, Seth Jones is gonna win a freaking ring, isn't he? Whatever. I'll let bygones be bygones. So, but because of Carolina, I have to mention one thing I texted Blake the other day, which is how many. Oh shoot. Sorry. Crap. Yeah, crap. Got a text. Sorry. I'll never do that again. I had to answer that though. But I texted Blake a list of teams that more recently won a conference finals game, West or Eastern, more recently than Carolina. So we're going to go through all 31 teams. And the teams that won more recently than Carolina. Get ready, it's a long list. Tampa, Florida, Washington, New Jersey, Ottawa, Montreal, Detroit, Western Conference. New York, the Islanders, Pittsburgh, Buffalo. Yes, Buffalo. Boston, Philly, San Jose, Chicago, Nashville, Anaheim, Vancouver, St. Louis, Edmonton, Vegas, Los Angeles, Colorado, Dallas, and yes, Winnipeg. They did win the game 1 against Vegas a few years ago. So, and that's not all, by the way. So there are 2 teams that haven't won more recently than them. Calgary and Toronto. Toronto get dunked on. Calgary, that's kind of rough, and I do feel bad for you because there's a lot of controversy whether there's a goal or no goal in Game 6 to force a Game 7. I think they were trying to force a Game 7 on that one power play. So, I broke this out into a different section called Certified Bums that have only been lucky to make it out of a playoff round max, which is Columbus and Minnesota. So they've never made a conference final. So both teams still pretty new, but one is more poverty than the other. Probably equal, to be honest. But I don't know. It's a tough conversation. But then the next section is called Seattle, which is Seattle. It's just basically too early to put them in conversations. I know people can argue, so, well, Vegas made the cup final year 1. It's like, you were given hand-me-down after hand-me-down. You got freaking Marc-Andre Fleury. Seattle did not get that.
Yeah,
so
teams figured out what they were doing in that draft. Like
with Seattle,
with Seattle. They had to learn the hard way with Vegas.
Yeah.
And Vegas took
massive advantage of it,
players because the NHL GMs that I don't think fully understood everything about it, and Vegas took advantage of it, and everyone learned when Seattle came into the league.
So that's why we're and they were 1 game away from a conference final, to be fair, against Dallas, but Dallas did pull through on that one, unfortunately for them. So not going to clown on Seattle yet. They're just too young. And then last one, It's an asterisk, chat. So this is the debate here. So technically, this team has done it more recently, but they technically haven't. Which is the Utah Hockey Club, formerly known Phoenix Coyotes. Phoenix has won it more recently. They were in the Western Conference Final against the Kings. Wild year this was, by the way. It was, I think, Kings. So it was Kings, Coyotes, Devils. I forgot. I think Devils, Canadians, I think. It was a weird freaking Final Four. So the Phoenix did win, I think, 2 in that series against LA. But did not go to the Cup Final. So, yeah. So we could debate whether or not technically yes and technically no. The history stays with Phoenix. That's why objectively it's not. But because we know who Utah used to be, I had to throw them in somewhere. It sort of counts. So
they get a half point.
They get a half point. Oh wait, I called them Hockey Club. Shoot. Since we're here, Utah Mammoth. What you like the name? You like the jersey? Yes or no?
Did you? Before I answer the question, did you see the? I think it was a lacrosse team that commented on the Utah Mammoths.
Is it the Colorado Mammoth?
Yes, and they commented on it about their name being taken, which was kind of funny. I personally don't. I mean, it was probably the second best one they offered. I liked the Outlaws. I thought that was a good one.
That went hard.
The Yetis were also a good one. I understand why that didn't happen.
Stupid water bottle ruined greatness.
But I definitely think the Outlaws were then after the Yetis unfortunately got eliminated. I thought the Outlaws was the best one. You can do a lot with that logo-wise, even like social media-wise, rink-wise. Like, there is so much opportunity there. But I guess, in a sense, with the Mammoth, we at least have the prehistoric rivalry with Nashville and Utah now, since they're both extinct and from the same era. Also, we can call it the Ice Age rivalry because, you know, an Ice Age.
It's freaking awesome.
So, I think I feel like both of them had good opportunities. I think the Outlaws could have been a better. You could have done a little bit more fun things with the Outlaws. I'm not saying that the Mammoth is a bad one. I think the logo's cool. I wish they would have changed their colors a little bit.
I agree.
But I think they have a good logo. I will say that. I like their logo. Was I complaining to you about the home uniform that still says Utah?
It was away.
It was away?
It was away.
Yeah, I'm glad that they put the logo on their home uniforms, but they still have Utah on their away ones. I wish they would have used
those
the logo.
Those are bad.
It just doesn't look good. I don't understand what they were trying to do, but like the Canes do it. There's select teams where it actually looks good.
Rangers, I like.
Yeah.
I like it for the Rangers.
For Utah, it didn't look good. It didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that to say, the Mammoth, I think, was a cool concept. Outlaws were better. I don't have anything wrong with it. They just needed to change the colors a little bit.
Yeah, I like the name. Even though I do sort of know about lacrosse, I knew that Colorado Mammoth existed. I think it's still a pretty cool name. I do agree. Outlaws was my favorite, other than Storm and Mormons, of course.
Yeah, Storm and Mormons. Absolutely.
Storm and Mormons would have gone crazy. Obviously, a lot of reasons why that would not go through, but yeah, I mean, Outlaws is the coolest, and I think jersey-wise, he had the most potential. But you know, Mammoth in a professional league setting, it's it's never been used, obviously. So, I think it works well, and as you mentioned, the Ice Age rivalry will be pretty sick. Nashville and the Mammoth, that'll be pretty cool. So,
I mean, because they're in the same division too.
Same division, yep. So I hope they do something like that one day. And if they don't, missed opportunities. So at Nashville, at Utah, get something going. We just provide you marketing. Yeah, NHL. Somebody put it together.
NHL, you've got
that'd be a sweet. opportunity for a Winter Classic, actually. Now thinking about, oh, man, that would go hard. At Utah. Man, that'd be awesome. But
Well, I mean, maybe in Nashville, because Utah, probably the biggest. I guess the biggest stadium they have is BYU's.
BYU or Utah.
So,
Utah, maybe.
I think BYU's is bigger.
It probably is. I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't
They
know.
they have stadiums to do it in.
Yeah,
So.
they do. I forgot
So.
about how big Utah is. At least football wise.
Yeah, they're decent size. So, really quickly. So come on Carolina. Really quickly, Maple Leafs. We're a little late here, but we all know what happened. Game 7, 0-4 now against Brad Marchand. It was 5-3 or something like that. Brad had but he did score the empty netter. So just leaving a sour taste in Toronto's mouth that they can't even beat the Boston allegations technically because of that. Who's to blame, and what do they need to do to try to? I'll make this a 3-parter because Mitch Marner's right below this. Who's to blame? What do they really need to do to try to even get to the Eastern Conference Finals? Forget winning a cup right now. Just get to the stinking Final Four, and then if you lose, at least progress has been made. And then what to do with Mitch Marner? Where do you think he'll go? So I'll just all at once.
Yeah. I feel like there's a couple of issues. I don't think the coach is the issue. I will say that they've gone through, I think, now 3 coaches, and they haven't gotten past the same round. So I don't think the coaching's the issue. I think it's the core. I think they should have blown up the core a couple years ago, or this year, and gotten something a little bit better for Marner or Nylander. I like Nylander. I think he should stay. I think he's been one of the ones that has actually been productive in the playoffs, at least this year. I don't know about a couple years, like the past couple years, but this year specifically he was productive, and I think put the team on his back a little bit in that department between the big guys that they have. Yeah, I think the GM is also you could throw them into the mix of what has gone wrong, because the GM's been the same and they haven't tried to blow up the core to see what happens if you try to trade one of them and get, because if you trade Marner or Nylander or Matthews, you're going to get a good return in them. So, like, you're not trading them for absolutely nothing. You're going to get some good guys that you have depth with your team. Some guys like, I don't know, I'm going to put Brock Nelson on that list. Like, he was good for Colorado. He did what Colorado needed. Or Charlie Coyle, once again, did what Colorado needed. Just some of those guys where you have that depth of scoring, where it's not just your big 3, and then if they're not producing, then your ship goes down with them. Or Stolarz did well in the playoffs, so I'm not going to say he's the issue. Or you could have gone and gotten a goalie, a more...
you need to replace Wall. Wall was bad.
A more... a guy that has better history in the playoffs, or better history just in his career. Because there's, once again, we've talked about it before, there was a couple guys still out there, because we talked about it for Edmonton, that could still have been taken or traded for, and it didn't happen. So I think it's a both and issue for Toronto. I don't think it's just one thing, but I will say I do not think it's the coaching. Mm-hmm. As for where I think Mitch Marner's going to go, I think he's going to go to a team that wants a veteran, a guy that has proved himself in the regular season, that doesn't necessarily need him to produce in the postseason, like in Anaheim. I could see San Jose maybe going in. But I don't know if San Jose wants to sit out another year to try and get the number 1 pick again, because this upcoming draft is a pretty good draft. Or not this year, but the next year's draft is a pretty good draft. Or, I mean, Chicago's been linked to him multiple times. So I think it's one of those three. I don't think he's came out and apparently said that if he's not going to go back to Toronto, he's not going to a Canadian team. So
I respect that.
So we can at least rule out, if that's actually what he said, we can at least rule out the Canadian teams. But I don't. He's also been linked to Florida. I don't see Florida making that move. I think they've got
where's the money?
I've also think they've got a system down, and I don't think he fits the system. So I think he would go to a team that is either looking for a guy to build some of their young guys with, like in Anaheim, San Jose, Chicago being one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. So it's showing here. Yeah, so it does show, as you mentioned, he won't go with any of the six. The teams that are mostly predominantly linked with him right now are, as you mentioned, Anaheim, Detroit, Chicago, and LA. I think of the four, LA and Detroit probably have better odds than Chicago and Anaheim. He's not going to Anaheim, straight up, I don't think. I'm going to say I don't think. I'm not going to let this become a freezing cold take, so I will recognize anything can happen. R.I.P. Johnny Hockey, he did go to Columbus, so, he could shock us, but I think he would provide a boost for LA. Maybe actually show up in the playoffs in LA and finally beat Edmonton. Who knows? Or push Detroit over the edge to get to the next step. I think both teams are playoff contenders or fringe. Where Chicago is still a dumpster fire. Anaheim, who the heck knows what's going on there. So I think if I'm gonna go where he's gonna go next, I think LA or I think I heard a lot about Detroit. I've seen a lot of comments in comment sections saying he'll go to Detroit. So I'm curious what the betting odds are though. So for all we know, he resigns. I personally wouldn't, but you never know. So as for who's to blame, really quickly, Austin Matthews. I'm so sick of this. Mitch, you are a part of the problem too, by the way. Last 5 years, 8 goals. That's really bad in the playoffs. And for those that want to know, that's a roughly. Let's look this up really quick. Hang on. Mitch Marner playoff stats. I need to add up his total games he's played in his last 5 years. It's roughly 40-something. And to have not even double digits. Yeah, so it's stupid NHL. They already went back to regular season because they're already out. So 13 this year, 7 and 24. So that's 20. 31 is 7 and 22. So that's probably 38. 45. 45 games. 45 games in the last 5 years. 8 goals. He's not even on pace for 20 in a full season of playoffs. I can't expect him, to be on pace for 40 or 50 goals. Sure, I understand that. 8 in 5 years. My brother in Christ, I don't want him. I so badly don't want him. Just solely on that. If the only reason I'd want him is a short-term deal, he would never take that. Austin Matthews too. You're the biggest guy. I thought this was finally going to be the year you show up. You're finally at least getting quality opportunities in the Four Nations final. You were fine. You weren't burying them, but you were getting looks. And then you're back to the same old Austin Matthews. Goose egg after goose egg. Unbelievable. At the end of the day, I agree. You can't blame coaching. The GM is probably a little lazy and trying to get guys to fit the team and trying to shift things up. But ultimately, this is a talented core. It is good enough on paper to win, and they can't do it. It's just you can only go so far before you start blaming players. And it's just like Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Riley to an extent. Riley's a defenseman, so you can't be doing all the scoring. But it's insane. Wool was bad, but he is just 1 year of a years of failure with the core four. John Tavares wasn't very good either. So he's curious what he's gonna do. He's a free agent, by the way. So 7 years, John Tavares, and the Islanders had more playoff success without him. By the way, they were one game away from a Stanley Cup final. So brutal. Yeah. Brutal. So, and they were shut out in that game. So it's like the Islanders 1-0. I mean, like, they were dang close without John Tavares against a great Tampa team. So hats off to you guys. So brutal. Really quickly, two last things. We're gonna skip the Kyle Davidson thing, but we're gonna ask a new question really quick. Who are the new Maple Leafs? The Wild or the Canes? The reason why I'm throwing in the Wild, I think pretty much have two playoff series wins since 2007, and they've never been to a conference final. Like, consistently doing okay to get into the playoffs, but not doing anything with it. Or is it Carolina, who, they're creeping their way into the Eastern Conference Finals, and then so I guess it's more of a who's the next big name, not necessarily Toronto exactly, but who's the bigger clown?
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to say Minnesota. At least with Carolina, you're making it far. Like, I understand the fact that you're about to go 0-16 in the Eastern Conference Finals, but not a lot of teams can say, I've made it to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 years in a row. Where Minnesota can't even get out of the first round. I understand they had a tough draw this year, but the Kings were a beatable team. And was it the Kings? No, it was Golden Knights. Golden Knights were a very beatable team. They weren't the same Knights that we've seen the past couple of years. I felt like this is probably the weakest Golden Knight team. I thought Edmonton was the better team out of the Pacific, and you couldn't even get past a weaker Vegas team. I was honestly just surprised that they made it into the playoffs because of the absolute atrocity that they had after the Four Nations break, because they did not look good and honestly almost lost it to a couple of teams that, St. Louis almost took over the first wildcard spot, but then also got a little cold going in. But I think Minnesota, because they still have a solid group of guys. Kaprizov is the one that comes to your...
Faber's a beast.
Comes to your mind. You have a really good goalie in Gustafsson. You have I would say, a good, solid 4 defensemen. Your top 4 guys are a good pair. Or at least with Carolina, you play not a great brand of hockey. Like, people don't come to you wanting to watch you. Like, people have called them boring. But at least they've been successful. They can't get over the Eastern Conference Finals hump, but I feel like a lot of teams can't. Dallas is now one of them, being down 2-1 to Edmonton. This is their 3rd year in a row. At least they can win in the conference finals, but the Stars haven't made it past since 2020, and they've been there 3 years in a row now. And even when they made it past, they did face the Lightning. But
they faced the Lightning.
But still, they didn't show up in the finals, in the Stanley Cup final much. So I feel like it's really hard to get past the conference finals because you're playing the other best team. Or at least in the first round, it's, you may get paired up with a tough team, but that's not every single year. Like, there's years that you should make it past your first round team.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I think on one hand, I agree. It's, you got a good team on paper year in and year out, and I think unfortunately for Minnesota, they do get brick walled a lot. I know at least just during the Blackhawks dynasty era, they had to run into us 3 times, and we beat them 3 times. And I felt like those years, like, they could have made a deep run, but just because who we are, how stacked the Blackhawks were, they weren't gonna beat us. So they were not gonna pull a Nashville on us, like, respectfully. So So they did get brookwalled by some really tough opponents. They've had they've had to deal with a good Colorado team several years ago, and they've just not had the best luck with matchups. But ultimately, you put together some great teams. I think won a division at some point, or were really close, and they've had multiple 100-point seasons, and did just not even flirt with making the Western Conference Finals. It's just wild to me. My thing is, from a marketing standpoint, people are going to clown on Carolina more. Just because, it is harder to win even a game. To get that far is impressive, but ultimately, when you can't even win one game in 4 appearances, is just utterly atrocious. And it could just, I think what's happening is this is kind of exposing the fault, the flaw of the current playoff system. It's just proving that Carolina just doesn't deserve to be here, clearly. If they just got paired with a team earlier out of the other division, they would have been waxed probably pretty early on. I think it's just a flawed system. So it's hard for me. I'm going to put a push here because they're both really funny to me. I think objectively Carolina's probably a bigger meme. I think you're just going to see more memes about Carolina on Instagram. Nobody talks about Minnesota. I think that's what hurts them. They're just not... Nobody makes fun of them because nobody cares about them.
The Chargers did, so...
fair enough. Okay, fair enough. That's fair enough. That's fair. But it's just the hockey community, though.
Yeah,
and it's
I agree.
there's some talented guys there, but people... when they're talking about hockey, there's the Wild. Oh. Hey. I don't know. So, it's hard to say. So, I agree and disagree. There's I can see both sides. So
that's fair. I also saw someone say for Carolina, if they go 0-16, they shouldn't be allowed. They should be on a 3-year playoff ban and shouldn't be allowed to make the playoffs no matter where they finish in their division.
That's crazy. Well, if they should have gotten if they get a 3-year ban, Toronto should have gotten a decade for
That's
all
fair.
the garbage that they've been putting, all the stinkers. Holy crap! I know that you got out of the first round 2 of the last 3 years now, but goodness sakes. Yeah, and the Wild probably should get a ban too while we're at it. Probably should throw in the Wild and the Kings. Kings only specifically versus Edmonton. I truly think they could beat other teams. I think again their play style does not match well against Edmonton specifically. So, but last thing, really quick. This is probably going to not super in depth, but we'll see. As NBA, for those of you who don't know, the free throw merchant, Shai Alexander, won MVP over Jokic. Do you think he deserved it? Long story short, I don't think so.
No.
But
No. Jokic, other than points per game, led the NBA in a bunch of different categories. He averaged a triple-double.
Mm-hmm.
That should win you an MVP by yourself. There's also some more advanced stats that I saw coming into it that should have actually helped Jokic. Apparently, with Jokic on the floor, they were +7 or something like that, which was second best in the NBA behind the Thunder with Shea. So in that category, Shea wins, but whenever Jokic wasn't on the floor, or whenever Shea wasn't on the floor, the Thunder, I think, was still a +7 or something like that, which was one of the best in the league without your star player, or without your best player on the floor. Jokic, they had a -10 points without him on the court, and that is 29th in the NBA, only ahead of the Wizards. So, I've said this before, I'll say it again. The MVP is the most valuable player for their team. By those two stats independently, and you don't look at any of the other stats, the triple-doubles, the rebounds, points per game, all of that stuff, assists, Jokic is the most valuable player for his team. Because if Jokic doesn't play for the Nuggets, in my opinion, don't make the playoffs.
You're probably right. I mean, clearly they had issues with their coach and GM towards the end of the year there. And I'll throw in a little stat here too. I think it was Game 7 against the Thunder. Nuggets were competing, and then Jokic sits for 2 minutes. 13-0 run for Oklahoma City. 2 minutes! And I understand that Thunder team's stacked. Like, that's the other thing. Is like, are you going to tell me, like, Chet's a bad player? Chet's a freaking baller.
No,
Dart's a baller.
Yeah,
they got a good freaking team,
and
man.
they got role players that know what they're doing, that know their role and their job.
It's not to take away from Shai. I think he's a good player. His style of play is frustrating, and I do think he's talented enough to win MVP. I just didn't think this was the right year. This is clearly a sign of voter fatigue, and I think now Jokic, and I'll also throw this out really quick. LeBron was a victim to it too. As much as I don't like him, LeBron was definitely the most valuable player more than 4 times. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
In his career, he should have won more than 4. I will admit that, but LeBron is an exhibit, is perfect example of voter fatigue. Guys just want to give awards to other guys just for the sake of giving it out. I think James Harden's was a debatable, questionable one. I think the difference was he did score like nearly 40 points a game, so at least it was justifiable. This is just a tougher one. Jokic clearly is far more valuable to the Nuggets. Nuggets probably don't make the post. You're probably right. They'll probably maybe make the plan. There are some pretty bad teams towards the bottom there. Yeah. But, they'd be a lot worse without Mavericks without Luka, clearly. Of course, missing other guys. But,
but with Luka, they still would have made the playoffs.
No, 100%.
The play-in.
Yeah, 100%. But, I think, in my opinion, Shai, congrats, good for you. I'm not a fan of your play style. I'm not the biggest hater either. I just kind of like hate on you just because of the memes. But so when I call you free throw major, it's funny to call you free throw merchant. But so good for you. But ultimately, Jokic should have won this for sure. So, but hopefully Jokic comes back next year and wins another one just to prove everyone wrong. Voter fatigue should be worn off with him. He took a year off, so he shouldn't have to worry about it next year. So we'll see. So, we're running out of time. I think the Immaculate Grid will just take up too much time. I'm satisfied-ish enough. So, anything else before we head out?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, next time we will bring back hockey. That's on our hockey league. I've been slacking their chat, so that's my fault. We'll do that, and I mentioned we're going to do a tournament and never did it, so I'm going to get that set up and going, and we'll run through with another one of those here soon. So until next time, this is 2 Idiots Doing Sports Podcast. We will see you all later.